What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my 3 tips on how to defend in FIFA 17. Now this video is going to be more directed towards the people who are stuck in Silver 1, 2, Gold 3, or maybe you guys can't even qualify. But if you do feel like you are a bit more experienced, feel free to stick around, as you might find some little tips and tricks that might push your gameplay to the next level. Essentially guys, if you can't defend, this is the tutorial for you. But before we get into any tips, I'm going to tell you what sort of people I like to have in my defense. Starting off with the center backs, we like to have people who have high defensive work rates so they don't push forward. Additionally, on top of that, we like to have people who have about 70 pace, making sure they can keep up with those fast strikers, and they have anchor or shadow chemistry styles. And on top of that, they have to be at least 6 feet tall to make sure they can deal with those chip through balls that always go over the top. And some good examples of these guys are Barzagli, Smalling, and Manolas. And if you're looking for a little bit more expensive option, inform Winston Reid. Now, moving over to the left back and right back position, we want to make sure they have at least medium defensive work rates, preferably high, so they actually drop back when they start bombing down those wings. On top of that, we probably want to have about 80 to 85 pace. I would like to have probably above 85 pace to make sure they keep up with those wingers like Ronaldo. And we want defensive chem styles to boost them in the right positions. And some good examples of this, guys, is Alexandro, Kyle Walker, Bruno Perez, and if your tastes are a little bit expensive, Abate is your main man. Now again guys, we're going to move over to our defensively minded center mids, and again we want high to medium defensive work rate so they actually drop when they get forward, and we just want them to be very well-rounded players with good defensive stats and especially good pace stats so they can keep up with those midfielders. And good examples of these are Kante, Nainggolan, the SBC Chan, and Naby Keita. Now before you go into any games, I would highly suggest that you put all of your defensive minded players, your left back, your center back, and your center defensive midfields on stay back while attacking, and make sure that you change in your custom tactics your defender line from offside trap to cover so you don't get done with the offside trap with those chip through balls. But anyway guys, let's get straight into the first tip, and that is to stop diving in, as it allows you to have more defenders back. It makes you less susceptible to counterattacks and just a stronger defense overall. Now coming into the first clip, what you guys want to see here is that my opponent at this point in time actually has a very good defensive setup right now, because he's got 3 defenders to my 2 attackers pretty much, and there's not really a big threat here. However, he brings out his right back and then he starts to bring out his Smalling. And as you can see guys, because he's pressed me, because he started to dive in, he's just allowed my Dybala to open up into a lot of space, and you can see his left back over there is gonna be just keeping all my players on side. So as you can see, once the gameplay resumes, Insigne is gonna pass the ball into Nainggolan down to Dybala, and it's a complete wide open chance for Salah to put that one home. Now coming into the second clip guys, we're going to have a similar sort of situation here, where we've got 4 attackers against 3 defenders, but there's not really any big threat if he just jockeys. However, he's not going to do that. He's going to bring his Bellerin forward, allowing my Emre Can into all sorts of space. And as you can see guys, it results into a 4-on-1 and eventually a goal. And this just wouldn't have happened if he just stood back, jockeyed me, and forced me to slow down basically. And as you can see, this is not what this player likes to do. He likes to dive in and push, and that's not what we like to do when we're defending. Now coming on to some good examples of defending guys, as you can see, I have the chance here to dive in with Winston Reid. However, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jockey him, and he's going to force him to do a chip through ball, and we're going to get the ball back as a result of it. So we want to make our opponent force the error. Additionally, a second time here, Winston Reid again in the defensive position, and he's got Carlos Barca on him, and I could dive in right now and I'll lose. Barca's just going to glide straight past me, but I'm going to stand off him, and he's just going to have to turn around and slow down the possession, and we get the ball back as a result of it. Now coming into tip number 2, and this is probably the tip I use the most in the weekend league, and that is to defend with your midfielders. Now remember, when you're controlling one player, 10 other players are going to be controlled by AI, so they actually are going to defend for you. So this is why this is so effective. Now coming into the first clip, as you can see, we have Eriksen in the midfield here, and we have two options. We can either switch to Manolas and we can pressure with Manolas, or we can pressure with Parolo, and that's going to keep Manolas in that back 4 line, which I like to have. So we're going to pressure with Parolo, and as you can see, he's going to get the ball back easily, and we're going to regain possession. A similar sort of situation occurs here, where we have two options, Alexandro and Parolo once again, and we're going to defend with Parolo, and he's just going to pressure on Bellarabi, and he's going to eventually grab the ball back from Bellarabi, and just allowing us to regain possession without having me to pressure with my back 4. And in this third and final situation, guys, it's not really going to be a situation where we are going to regain possession. However, we're just going to slow down the play. And as you can see right here, I bring back Kante to get in front of the ball. And now we have more players behind the ball, so therefore it's going to be harder to break down our defense. So he's going to have to turn around, guys. And it just slows down the play, and he's just going to have to find another way to penetrate through my defense, slowing down his attack. Now moving on to the third and final tip for this tutorial, and this is going to be a bit more of an advanced one, and this one is where you're going to have to position your players to manually cut the passing lanes, and this actually works really effectively as people make really predictable passes. So guys, as you can see right here, we've got Valencia making a run down the wing. Now, he's got an option in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually cut the passing lane with Nainggolan. And as you guys will see in a bit, I'm going to try and track with his player. And this is where the hard part comes in. I'm going to have to track with my player to manually move across to get the ball off him. Again, here's another similar situation where he's just making a very predictable pass. So I'm going to judge my opposition and then figure out where he's going to make his pass and then cut that passing lane. And this actually works really effectively, as it just gives us possession right back right there, and it leads on to another attack. However, guys, you do really have to judge your opponents, because if your opponent isn't making predictable passes, as this opponent right here, as you can see, I am trying to cut the passing lane, but it might not always be the best option, because Mane's got that wing, he's got that lane open for him to just run into space right there, and as you can see, I have to bring him down in order for him to not be that deadly. So you guys really do have to judge your opposition and see whether or not are they making predictable passes, are they not making predictable passes, is it the best idea to cut the passing lane. And this is why this is a more advanced tutorial, a more advanced tip, because you do really have to judge your opponent in this one, and of course you have to try and manually position your defender. So those are probably the two more difficult things about this tip, but if you can get it locked down, it works very effectively. Anyway guys, that's probably going to be my 3 tips on how to defend effectively in FIFA 17. And remember guys, it's all about slowing down your opposition and forcing them to make a mistake. And if I was to give you one last final tip on how to defend, it'd probably be a mental tip, and that's just to try and keep calm throughout the entirety of your games and just play like it's 0-0 throughout those games. Because if you keep your composure, it prevents you from making those rash decisions and you end up defending a lot better. However guys, that's going to be it for this little tutorial. Hopefully it did help. And all the gameplay came from my Road to Glory account, so make sure you go check out that series over there. We got some good stuff coming. We're playing Foot Champs. We're ranking pretty well, I gotta say, for the team that we have, so that's pretty damn awesome. But if you found this video helpful, don't forget to smash the like button, don't forget to comment and subscribe as always, and until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.